My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.
And good morning and welcome. I can't do it like Joe. Full disclosure, I am not Joe Carlisle, but this is still Joe Knows South Lake. Joe is enjoying a much-deserved day off. Happy Friday to you all. I'm filling in for him today, and what are we going to talk about today? Today is National Cappuccino Day. Very, very exciting. We're going to talk about a couple places you can go to get a good cappuccino. Also want to break down the Taste of South Lake. Last night was a great event hosted by the South Lake Chamber of Commerce. We're going to talk about the winners and the runners-up and just the event overall. We're also going to finish up the series of Cup of Joe about gratitude this week, and we also have a pre-recorded interview with Michael Bekemeyer, the TV production teacher at Lake Minneola High School. Joe had a chance earlier this week to go have a chat with him and talk about their program, all the cool things they're doing. And we will have that interview for you later on in the broadcast. But first, before we get started, we are going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy? Your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Claremont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
And welcome back. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Michael Singh, Singh Insurance and Financial Services, Erica's Tea Room, Alan Zubkin, MD, as well as Mary Rhodes at the mortgage firm. So, first up, it is National Cappuccino Day. Who likes cappuccino? Me. There's a couple of places I do want to give a quick shout out to. One place that is actually not open yet, but we did see at the Taste of South Lake. I'll pull this up real quick, their website. Very interested in checking this place out, Golden Hills Coffee Roasters. They were at Taste of South Lake. When they open, which I believe it's going to be very soon, I believe they're going to be on Montrose Street, downtown Claremont. Looks like a great place to go get a cappuccino. They had a pretty good showing last night. There's a line to go get some coffee from those guys last night, and it was very, very delicious. So looking forward to them. But places you can go in town to celebrate National Cappuccino Day. My first recommendation would always be the Outpouring Coffee, a great place over off of Highway 50. That's a good place to go. You can also go the more traditional routes by going to either Dunkin' Donuts, which I believe it's referred to as a Dunkachino, which I have not had, but it sounds very interesting. And there's a couple other places that I'd recommend going. There's the location downtown that is inside the bike shop. I'm forgetting the name of the coffee place. The High Energy Coffee Place, yes. And you can always go to Starbucks if you want to get a cappuccino. But it is National Cappuccino Day, so you definitely should go out. Best way to celebrate, go get yourself a cappuccino. Second thing we want to talk about today, the Taste of South Lake. This was their 9th annual Taste of South Lake. It's held at the Waterfront Park down in Claremont, and it was an amazing event. And I will go ahead and pull up real quick. We do want to give a quick shout out to the South Lake Chamber of Commerce, and especially Amanda Netherow, who's in charge of marketing over at the South Lake Chamber of Commerce. She did a great job of helping coordinate all this, all the volunteers. Big shout out to Donnie Hunt, who is our neighbor here at Hunt Industrial Suites, who has spent a lot of time helping get all that set up and running the power for that event, which if you've been to it, they definitely need power. So big shout out to Donnie Hunt on that. But the winners and runners-up from last night, if you go to our Facebook page at TV South Lake on Facebook, you can check out the list of winners. We'll kind of go through it real quick. The best booth runner-up was Mighty Clean Cans. They had their machine, their truck out there last night, which was very cool. You got to see it to believe it. They were the runner-up, and the City of Claremont government, they actually won the best booth, which I heard was either the 3rd or 4th year in a row that they've claimed this title. So you got to watch the video. If you can see that on our Facebook page down here, you can watch the video to see how they were dressed up for the Halloween, or I'm sorry, it was, I guess, a leftover Halloween costume that they're multi-purposing for a Christmas costume, but you got to see it to believe it. Moving on to the best appetizer, Tabletop Catering was the runner-up. They had an amazing dish. I believe it was a pumpkin ravioli, which I've never had before, but I definitely recommend that you try it. But the winner of best appetizer was the Claremont Oyster Bar. Their entire crew was, they were literally on top of their food truck last night. They were having a really, really good time. Best entree, Guru Restaurant, Indian restaurant, over off of Highway 27. They were the runner-up. And Ellie Lou's Brews and Barbecue was the winner for best entree. Best dessert was the newcomer to the neighborhood, Evolve Kitchen, and Ritter's Frozen Custard, which I had their, I believe it was their Oreo frozen custard, was delicious. Great, great dish. They took home the prize for best dessert. Best drink, runner-up, was Root and Branch Bistro and Bar. Big shout out to AJ over there. They were doing, and I really actually enjoyed their entree a lot too. They had a really good entree. But they came the runner-up for best drink, and Claremont Brewing Company, CBC, was the winner. And the big grand prize, the People's Choice, went to San Jose Mexican Restaurant. If you were there last night, you know that the line was literally out of the tent. They were giving away some free margaritas. Everybody was having a good time. They did take the prize, the grand prize, People's Choice San Jose Mexican Restaurant. If you want to go visit them in person, shoot down Highway 27 South like you're heading to Kings Ridge. They're in the Publix Shopping Plaza. Great place to go. Always have a good time when my family goes there. We love it. They did take the prize home. And again, big shout out to South Lake Chamber of Commerce for putting this on. Next year will be their 10th anniversary. So we're hoping, I'm going to talk to them. I personally think that there should be 3 tents because there's a lot of people that are there. There's a lot of vendors. All the vendors are amazing. All the people that, I mean, you run into people that you know left and right. It's a great event, and I'm glad that the Chamber of Commerce hosts this. Moving on to the third and final thing for today. Cup of Joe. Joe's been talking this week about gratitude, and to kind of finalize this, Friday is the end of the week, and it's some people are just happy to get through it, and some people are just happy that they're getting ready for the weekend. I want to take a moment to say how grateful I am for Joe Carlisle. Joe is the host of this show. I'm doing it this morning, but it's tough to do this every single day, and Joe does this because he loves doing it. And I'm very grateful for Joe. He comes in every single day and taking the time to do these Cups of Joe to help motivate people and help them see the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever tunnel they may be in. So we talked earlier this week about making a list of 10 things that you're grateful for, and getting through the tough stuff every week, and then also taking the time to be grateful for the little things. I want to make sure that I give a big shout out to Joe Carlisle, who again is taking the day off and enjoying himself with his beautiful wife, Pat. I'm grateful for you, Joe, and I'm looking forward to continuing this show, seeing you again on Monday, and continuing to grow this show as we've done so far the first couple of months. So we will take another quick break, and when we come back, we will have Joe Carlisle with Michael Bekemeyer, who is the TV production teacher at Lake Minneola High School. Really cool interview talking about the great things that they have going on at Lake Minneola High School, and in my opinion, really leading the charge as far as TV broadcasting in the South Lake community. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors. Welcome back. It's always good to hear from our sponsors. I really, really appreciate them. Look, we are out here today with Michael Bekemeyer. I want to welcome you to the show. Thanks,
Hello,
Mike,
greetings.
for making this happen.
Thank you.
He is the teacher for the Lake Minneola High School television production class. Now, Mr. Bekemeyer is quite unique as a teacher. It's one of the reasons we're covering him. He is the teacher of the television production class. He is an independent film producer and director. He is a screenplay writer for said independent films. He was the former creative director for Angel Works Productions. He is a graduate in film and television from Orlando Technical School, and he is the proud father of Elise.
My crowning achievement.
Crowning achievement. That's such a cool idea. I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, the most successful thing I've ever done is raise children. So.
Sometimes I'll even say from the producers of at least Mackenzie Bekemeyer.
Mr. Bekemeyer, can I call you Mike?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Mike, I want to touch a little bit. It's so easy to think that our teachers are cut from the same mold. And one of the reasons we focus on teachers is to break that idea. Give us a little bit about you, a little idea of your background, because it's not the traditional road to a classroom.
I started as I started out as a child, and then I was a music major for a couple of years, and went to visit a friend of mine who was going to school at Full Sail. And I hung out on his set, and I had always loved movies and everything. Then I saw him making one, and I blame it all on him. Every time I talk to him, he's like, he's still mad at me. Yeah. So I gave up my music thing. I had a scholarship to play trumpet, and was going to be a film composer is what I wanted to do, and ended up switching to, as I always say, from one penniless career to another, the musician to the filmmaker, and started trying to make movies. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. Ended up being a freelancer for a long time. Worked at a little company here, a company there, making my own stuff. And
can you define freelance? Because a lot of people use that term. I think it's really understood maybe in the writing world, but I'm not sure it's quite understood in our world.
You wake up jobless every day. And that's not exactly, that's fatalistic.
Pretty close, though.
But you have to basically get a new job every day. And it's not something that I was ever all that good at myself, which is why I have landed at companies and stayed there longer. I like production, and I like making things, and I like putting things together, lights, camera, action, all that stuff. I was never great at scrambling on a daily or weekly basis to get that week's gig, you know what I mean? You basically have to get a job every day, and it's hard because you think I'm a freelancer, so I don't have to work for anybody, but really you work for everybody because you have to take that job when it comes up because you don't know if phone calls are going to come in next week or not. So I never was great at that. I had jobs at companies here and there, and I preferred that for the most part.
Was it because it was a little more stable? The paycheck was a little more
stable.
steady?
Yeah. By the time I started working, I was married at the time and had kids, and I felt a little unsure of the idea of not knowing if I was gonna be able to put food on the table because I was a freelancer. So I preferred jobs. The last job I had before I came here, I worked at a local high school sports network, and I was there for 6 or maybe 7 years. I did all kinds of stuff.
It's funny, I have some experience in film and television myself in the background, and one of the things that I found about working for companies, one of the few advantages other than a paycheck was many times because you were working, you had an opportunity to work every day in your field. Mm-hmm. So you're able to build some sort of competence because you're working for other people.
You can't go out there and not know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I started that way. What are we talking about? We're talking about how I became a teacher from all this?
Yeah, well, your background a little bit. We're about to get to there. So my next question is, you spent how many years doing that?
I started working basically in '94, and then I still freelance from time to time. I'll take a job for a company if they need a little video for their website or something like that. But basically about 6 or 7 years ago, I stopped doing that and started concentrating on being a teacher.
Tell us how that transition happened. I think that's a really cool story, or at least just the fact that you found that opportunity, I think, is very interesting.
Well, in Florida, at least, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in Florida, if there's a shortage of technical teachers, and there's actually a shortage specifically of television production teachers. It's hard to teach, as I prove every day. It's kind of hard to teach, but it's hard to teach, and there's a lot of equipment and buttons and stuff, and it's not something that somebody can just fill in like, oh, well, I was a math teacher last year, but now they need a TV teacher, so I'm going to go do that. It's hard to transition like that, so they really need people who have been in the industry or at least know how to do that stuff.
Yeah, you can't take last year's history teacher and make him a culinary teacher. It's technical, right?
And also, you would never want to make me the history teacher. Yeah. Like it's not a slam on them. I don't want to teach that either, you know. But they need people who know what buttons to push and how to do that. And really, my experience is what helped get me a job teaching, because I'd been doing it for a long time at that point. What was it, maybe 17 or 18 years, maybe 16 or 17 years. And they basically were able to hire me in the technical capacity of a TV production teacher as if I had been teaching for several years. So they were able to basically, I was able to enter as not as a beginning teacher, but as somebody who had several years of experience. And that's how that's how they use that to sort of leverage technical people that are used to making a lot more money than teachers make to come in here.
So you don't have an education in education.
I'm not an educated
You don't have a bachelor's degree and all of that.
No. And it was hard to, it still is. There's a lot of like teacher speak and stuff that I still sort of like scratch my head at. I come from an industry where you need something done yesterday. You don't sit around and wait and talk about it and discuss it with everybody, and then maybe by the end of the 9 weeks you might have what you're looking for. I'm used to and expect things now. It's a little harder when you're entering into education and working, basically government, and working for public education, because it's really easy to walk into a production company that's making a bunch of money on their productions and everything and say, we need a new Mac, max it out with all the RAM and everything like that. Schools just don't really have the capacity to do that because there are 20 Macs in here. We can't max all of those Macs out. So it takes time to build it and grow it and get used to that that way of working, purchase orders and going down and talking to people and getting permission to spend that money on this thing over here. And it's really not a whole lot of fun. It's more fun sitting in a room with teenagers and helping them figure out how to express themselves and tell stories to make people feel something.
Since you brought it up, let's talk about the program. I mean, obviously, you're not the history class.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that kids want to be here? I mean, are you an elective? Is this an elective? Is this part of their regular?
Yeah. So
do they pick a track? How does
we
that
have
work?
something in Florida called CTE. CTE is career technical education, and I'm an academy. I'm a television and academy, so they can come here and they can get technical skills, so that when they leave school, high school or wherever, they can go out and at least get a job somewhere, wrapping cables, helping somebody hold a camera, pack up the gear and stuff like that, and make a lot more money with technical skills than they did with like flipping burgers or something. Again, nothing wrong with that, but if you can make more money doing something else that you learned in high school, why not do that until you graduate college and get to do what you really want to do. Some people really fall in love with it in here because I tried it. I don't want them to be proficient users of technology. Technology is going to be different everywhere you go. I want them to know what they're doing, but I don't want them to come in and be the expert on this one thing. And if I go to work somewhere and they're using this one thing, I'm going to be set. But if I go there and they're using this other thing, I won't know what I'm doing. I want to help people learn how to be emotional storytellers, so that and I tell them, you're in a visual art now. Your job is to learn how to manipulate people's emotions so that they feel what you want them to feel from your thing. And the trick is to get them to put their phone down for 2 minutes and watch your story.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard for me to get them to put their phones down to tell the story, but. So I try to get them to learn how to engage an audience emotionally, and we'll work out the technology later. Technology is great, but it should be a tool.
Do you know it's such a cool concept, not just in television, but for their life skills. I mean, because technology will change. But what won't change is I know that when I was an actor and as I have tried to become a writer, and we talk about craft, and I've heard people in other businesses say if you focus on the craft, cooks are very good. They're like, technology to actually cook with changes, right? But if you understand the craft of cooking, you can really get a hot piece of metal on an open flame, and you can still cook. And it sounds like you're trying to give them a life skill that's not just going to be about trying a new career, but it's going to work for them in the rest of life.
Being a teenager sucks sometimes, right?
It's
not always.
Most of the time, usually for the the 7 years that you're actually a teenager.
It's hard to be a teenager, and teenagers are. I've figured out over the last several years is that they are predisposed to be the opposite of what I want them to be, which is to be open about their emotions and understand what they're feeling about a thing, so that they can then tap into that and convey it to somebody. It's very surface when you first get them, and every now and then, a couple times a year, I get a student who tells a story that really they stopped worrying about what people were going to think about them if they said something embarrassing about how they felt about something, and then they just did it. I'm always most proud of those moments because I know that it's hard. When I was a teenager, I wasn't doing that. It took me until I was in my mid-20s or 30 years old until I, lived life a little bit to realize that that's really what it's all about.
Before the word authenticity meant anything to you.
Yeah. Authentic is a good word for what I'm trying to get.
Let me ask you something. I know that, and we're starting to run out of time because it's really quick. I know that you've worked with several students, so I have a couple of things I want to cover really quick. You've worked with some students that you've actually ended up working with professionally that were students of yours.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
us about that, just really quick.
We joke about it a lot because I don't know who's paying for what. Like, am I suffering because I'm still working with my high school students, or are they suffering because they're coming to work with me? But I actually have at least one student in particular who I work with, like right-hand man, a lot of times on stuff that I shoot. I've learned a lot from him because he is a well-trained, not self-taught, but he started by self-teaching himself photography. I've always been a decent photographer. Like, I know how to take a shot, but this guy is an expert at it. So I called him one day and I had a film project that we were working on. And
Hang on, why don't you interrupt you just a second? One of the things that makes Mr. Bekemeyer unique is that he is not just teaching this. He actually applies these skills that he's giving to the kids because he is a current independent film producer, director, writer. So I know he did a project last summer. He's got a project coming up this. So when he says works with these kids, he actually literally means, when they graduate, he works with them.
I try to, especially the ones that want to continue to get experience and learn.
So for the kids that are still here, you're doing something really neat that is hard to accomplish. We at South Lake TV and Jay, our station manager, has worked with several schools to help them with their school news production. You guys do high school news here.
Yeah, every day. Called the Hawks News Network, HNN.
And what kind of stuff do you cover?
We basically, it is our school's way of getting the announcements out to people. So we might talk about Key Club is doing this fundraiser. Homecoming is this Friday. We're playing against so-and-so. Everybody wear all black so that you can black out the stadium and stuff like that. We basically have 5 or 6 minutes every day to get the general announcements for the school out. We might play a little video promo here and there to promote something. So
South Lake TV has a partnership with schools. We try to create help educational programs, and I know that you have a partnership with us that we broadcast your news. Tell us about that. When does that happen?
5 o'clock every day. I don't know, does it loop for 20 minutes? 20? Yeah, it loops. So if you miss it at 5, it's on somewhere. And basically, it's the announcements for that day. We basically send off the show we made, and we produce our show a day in advance. So today we made the show that's going to air tomorrow. So and when we're done here,
I'm doing that now.
When we're done here, I'll go upload the show for tomorrow and hand it off to you guys. Yeah.
Excuse me. Look, we've run out of time. Obviously, you're great. You and I could go on for 2 hours, I'm sure. Yeah. We actually met the other day for what was supposed to be 45 minutes to an hour. 2.5 hours later, we were saying we had to leave.
I'm just getting started. I could talk to myself for 2 hours.
Yeah. I was at something the other day, and they handed me the microphone. They said 10 seconds, and I just stood up and said, I don't know the meaning of 10 seconds, and handed the microphone off. Look, I want to thank Mr. Bekemeyer for allowing us to do this. I want to thank Lake Minneola High School. These teacher interviews, student interviews are very, very important to me personally and to the station, because I think that many times as a member of the community, we tend to forget that our students and our teachers are a big part of our community. They're a part of, you guys are making who's going to be the community tomorrow. But they're working in our community, they're living in our community, they're utilizing our businesses. They're a really important part. So I want to say thank you for all that you do. Also, I'd just like to say that, if you want to find out what your kids are doing, you can tune into South Lake TV at 5 p.m. Yeah. If you are with another school, reach out to us. We would love to broadcast your stuff as well. And I don't believe there's a cost to that. Is that correct? We provide that as a community service like we do the broadcast of the city council meetings. So please, please, please reach out to us. All right, and that's it. I want to say thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we'll see you back at the studio.
All right, and welcome back. And want to give a big shout out to Michael Bekemeyer over at Lake Minneola High School. As mentioned in the interview, you can watch high school news on southlake.tv at 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I've heard East Ridge High School is going to start sending their broadcasts as well, so it's going to be a great compilation of all of our high school broadcasting programs, giving you the news, what's going on in their school, what's going on in our community, and in some cases, some of their stories, what's going on in the world. So Tune in, high school news, 5 p.m. on southlake.tv. Again, thank you to Michael Bekemeyer for being our guest. And big shout out to Joe Carlisle. Enjoy the rest of your day off, and we will see everyone on Monday with a brand new Joe Knows Southlake. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you.
My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes Southlake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows Southlake. Joe Knows Southlake would like to thank the following sponsors: